My son, James, is non-verbal. He can't speak, but he still matters. He was injured in a respite house and the police would not investigate the worker involved. And without cameras, there would never be proof of wrongdoing or assault. The person got away with it. My son cannot speak, but he still matters. And disability lives matter always and should matter and be valued. Okay, people might not be picture perfect, they might not be able to do all the things. Many people have different disabilities, but we need to stand, we need to value them, we need to value each other and stand up for our vulnerable disability children and family members and fight for their right to protection and safety and for their futures. Parents are terrified of what might their children's futures hold, especially in the light of Anne-Marie Smith, who died while in care in her own house that her parents had left her with a lot of money in the bank, and the carer didn't look after her for at least a year or so, left her lying there, didn't bath her, didn't feed her till that girl died. Now there's a prosecution. For once there's a prosecution. I'm tired of hearing of children or young people who've been bullied and injured in care, and when the police were told no one would do anything, they always say to me, no one did anything. My child got hurt, my child got raped, but no one would do anything. My child died, but no one has done anything. As in the case of Myrna Aprem, who has died. Remember Myrna, and her mum still has not got justice for her daughter. That daughter died last year. She's 19 years old and she drowned at the house where she was being cared for, and no one has been prosecuted. Why aren't the police investigating this properly? Or are they investigating it? In any case, there should be prosecutions. When you think about that, there's been 8,000 complaints of incidents of abuse and violence and assault given to the NDIS, and yet the only prosecution is one prosecution, the girl that died, who the carer didn't look after her for a year, Anne-Marie Smith. Remember Anne-Marie Smith as we stand up on International Disability Day. Why has there been no prosecution with this other girl who's drowned? And why should our children, even adult children, be dying in care? And why are our adult children being hurt in care and the police don't do anything? I had the same thing with my son, and then I have other young people tell me that they were hurt and harmed and bullied in care, but they couldn't prove it. And that's exactly why I want the hard evidence of cameras. In childcare they have cameras, and also it's regulated so that people get in trouble. They actually get in trouble if they hurt a child in childcare. I don't know if that's probably because it makes money for the government to have childcare, whereas disabilities doesn't. Well, everybody matters. In childcare, there's been 32 prosecutions for incidents that have occurred, and a little baby died 2 years ago in that berry patch place, and they said, medical reasons. But then when they investigated further, at least they did investigate, there are now 10 charges against that berry patch. Why aren't there any charges being made against these places where other people have been hurt? And what did happen with Integrity Care, who are looking after Anne-Marie Smith? A $12,000 fine. Meanwhile, people are being fined for crossing the borders. $20,000 fine, sorry, I just dropped this. $20,000 fines, all sorts of fines just for having parties and breaking social isolation. What about people dying? What about people being hurt in care? Do you think we should have some better fines for that, some higher fines? At least $20,000 for an organisation. They should be banned. And a place where someone gets drowned or hurt should be investigated, and they should be banned. And what is Stuart Robert doing about this? He's the head of NDIS. Why is he silent? Why has he said nothing? And it takes days before someone who's died is notified, the organisation notifies the NDIS. We need to have a change. We need to stand up, and we need to care for our vulnerable ones. They can't speak. They can't speak for themselves. And even when a special needs person can speak, they're not treated as credible by the police. So we need new laws, mandatory laws that make it mandatory to investigate when a child or our adult children are hurt in care. And if one dies, this should be investigated. It should not be left. Parents need justice for their children. I keep dropping my phone. Okay, this is Andrea Wheatley. If you believe something enough, you can stand up for it. I mean, even the girl that stood up for climate change, Greta, she went out on her own, Greta Thunberg, who now, millions of people follow the change for climate change. They want to see things happen because you don't want the earth to die and we don't want these things to happen. How much more should we stand up for our vulnerable children? This girl was autistic. She's had Asperger's, and she still stood up for what she believed. And it doesn't matter. We must not limit ourselves either as parents or our children. That it doesn't matter what you have. If you stand up for what you believe in, you can bring change. All the best, Andrea.